Verity can be a very confusing encounter, especially for new players. And so I thought in this video, I would explain how to complete the encounter itself, so that you guys have a shot of completing it for yourselves. As a fellow Iconoclast, this video was a ton of fun to put together, and I hope you guys enjoy and possibly learn something. The first thing I'll mention that you guys should take note of is to try to make sure that your drip is up to scale. So what do I mean by that? Make sure that you have unique armor, unique ghost shells that people can correlate you with, because that's how you'll be identified for certain encounter mechanics. Just a bit of advice here for Titans and Warlocks. If you guys want to use the following exotics, such as the Hyrogale Gauntlets with the glowing suns on the shoulder pads, or if you want to use the Necrotic Grips, these exotics have particle effects that will actually go beyond the mechanics that are in this encounter and will let you see where the person goes on a statue without even needing the person to give out the call out who's spectating that person. If you're confused by this, I'll be sure to explain it later in the video. Just know for right now, it is kind of a nice benefit to have. The goal of this encounter is to free the 3 guardians who are teleported to the inside mirror rooms 3 times in total for 3 separate phases. And to do that, you need to understand the mechanics and roles that go for the people in the inside as well as those for the outside. You will also have a wipe timer at the top of your screen saying imminent end, and if you do not complete the encounter mechanics fast enough, when this timer reaches 0, your entire team will wipe. This is the part of the video where I'm going to explain how to do the inside if you are teleported into one of the solo mirror rooms in Verity. So if you find yourself in this situation and you're not quite sure what to do, we're going to walk you guys through it on exactly what you need to do step by step. This is going to be the LFG strat that I go over. I'm just going to explain what you guys need to do. I'm not going to explain how this works or why this works. If you guys are curious more on that, I will explain that later in this video when I go over the challenge for this encounter, because having a more deeper understanding of how the mechanics work is somewhat required to do the challenge. Okay, so we're going to start with explaining this by giving a scenario. So the first thing that you always do when you enter one of these inside rooms is you look around your room and you're going to identify 3 statues. So right here, I've made a simulation for you guys of statues. So this is the statue on the left, this is the statue in the middle, this is the statue on the right. Okay? So let's say in this example that we are the middle guy. Your guardian statue is the middle one, and you'll know it's the middle one. There's a couple different ways to tell. The first way, which is the most obvious way, is if the statue looks like you. That's the first way to tell if you know it's that. The other way to tell is based off of your back wall, what 2 shapes are there, which will explain your back wall in just a moment. You can match up one of those shapes, or if you have 2 of the same, that's going to dictate what statue you are, because that's always the case. But what you guys need to remember is you need to look for your statue, and you need to figure out what statue shapes are from left to right. So in this background here, I've basically drawn a simulation, a scenario, where we have a person on the left holding a circle, person in the middle holding a triangle, person on the right holding a square. In this scenario, this is us. So I'm going to draw this. This is you. Middle guy is you, which means we are triangle. That's our shape. Alright? But, because we can see circle, triangle, square, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to call that out. Usually it's a good idea to do this in game chat. Yeah, I would recommend that you guys do that. So I'm just going to quickly right off to the side here. Circle, triangle, square. That is the call out from left to right. And you want to tell the people on the outside this, because they're going to need this information in order to do their job, called Dissection, which I'll get to in a later part of this video. Alright, and so once we identify the left to right, and we identify which statue is ours and our shape, next we need to look on our back wall, and we need to see what we can find. Alright, so in this example, our back wall is going to be circle and triangle. In this example. So you guys don't necessarily need to know what the people's back walls are on the other 2 rooms. Just a good idea to know that there's always 6 shapes on the back walls in total between the 3 people. between the 3 inside rooms, you and then the 2 other people. There's always 6 in total. If you're ever under 6 or you're over 6, meaning you duplicate a shape or you somehow delete a shape, that is a bug that can happen, and it will soft lock the encounter. There's a couple different things that cause this. I don't really know too many ways consistently that create this issue, except for doing some kind of a dunking while the witness mechanic happens, which I'll get to in a moment. But for now, we're gonna go over this example. So in this example, our back wall is circle and triangle, like I've already mentioned. So the first thing we want to do, so I'll just write it down here. Step 1 is double. We want to double up on our shape. So because we are triangle and we have circle and triangle in our back wall, we need to get rid of this circle, and someone needs to give us a triangle. We're going to give this circle to circle because circle needs to double up. Someone's going to have triangle, which will either be circle or square, and they're going to give us a triangle to double up on our back wall. So how do we do this? How do we get rid of our circle? You'll notice that there will be a knight in your room, or there'll be 2 knights. You can have no knights, 1 knight, or 2 knights in your room. And at the very start, you're always going to have 2 knights in your room. All right, so this will be my attempt at making a knight. All right, so we have our 2 different knights in our room. And whenever we kill one of them, let's say we kill the left knight first. Let's say, for example, it's going to drop a circle. So we're going to pick this up, and then we're going to dunk it on the left statue. That's going to get rid of our circle on our back wall, and now we should just have a triangle alone. Eventually, someone's going to give us our triangle, and we're going to be doubled up, which is the next thing that needs to happen. So that's going to give us our second triangle. Someone's going to dunk our triangle onto the middle statue, and then we're going to get 2 triangles in our back wall. So as long as everyone else is doubled up, so circle has 2 circles, and square has 2 squares, then we're going to start step 2, distribution. So this is the part where you're going to kill all of your knights in your room, and you're going to grab 1 triangle each, because we are triangle in this case, and we're going to send 1 out to circle and 1 out to square. We need to give away our shape. We have 2 of our shape on the back wall. We need to give away 2 of our shape. We're going to kill the other knight, which is going to drop a triangle. We need to dunk this triangle on either the left or right side. So we're going to dunk it on the right statue because the knight is just closest to it. So we'll dunk the triangle on the right. And then now what we need to do is we need to kill our ogre. So we got to kill our ogre that spawns somewhere in our room. On master difficulty, it'll be an unstoppable ogre, but you just have to kill the unstoppable ogre. And then once he's dead, it's going to respawn in the knights. So it's going to respawn our 2 knights in. Depending on how many shapes that you have on your back wall, will depend on how many knights that you have spawned in. So assuming that you're actually faster than your teammates and your teammates aren't giving you shapes that you need, there's actually only going to be 1 knight that spawns in. So you've given away 1 of your triangles to the right side, and you've just killed your ogre, and you only have a triangle left on your back wall. So you're only going to get 1 knight after you kill the ogre. So now you simply kill this knight. He's going to drop yet again another triangle. And you're going to dunk this on the other statue that you haven't dunked it on yet, which is the left side. And now you'll have nothing on your back wall because you've sent out both your shapes for distribution. And if you've sent a triangle successfully to this person and this person, both of these people will see your middle statue without a shape above it. But just to remind you guys that the middle is indeed triangle, basically you're still triangle, but the shape will be missing for the other 2 people's perspectives. All right, but back to us now. We can still see all the shapes. So now what'll happen is we'll get, let's say, a square on our back wall. So the square person sent us a square after sending circle a square. So we now have a square on our back wall, and then that's going to spawn in another ogre. If you're on master, you're going to want to kill this guy immediately, even if it means killing another ogre once you get your other shape in. If you're on normal mode, you probably don't need to kill the ogre immediately because he's not a threat. And if you wait to get your other shape before killing your ogre, it'll spawn in both the knights. That's just a little pro tip. All right, and so Then our circle is going to give us their circle. Now we have circle and square in our back wall. And we kill our knight. We kill our ogre. We're going to spawn in both of our knights. So now we have our 2 knights and we have the 2 shapes that aren't ours. What's going to happen now is you'll actually have noticed that when square gave us a square, the square shadow was actually removed. And whenever circle gave us a circle, the circle shadow is also removed. So now you'll see only one shape, which is your statue shape, and you should have the 2 shapes on your back wall. In this case is circle and square. You're gonna kill both your knights, and they're each gonna drop the shapes that you need. So one of them is going to drop you a circle. So this guy is gonna drop a circle. This guy will spawn a square. Maybe it's flipped. Maybe it's the other way around. So one's gonna drop a circle, one's gonna drop a square because your back wall is circle and square. And then now your job is to pick up both of these at the same time. So that's going to give you a cylinder as your buff, which is going to pop up on your screen as a 3D buff. You're gonna get a cylinder. As long as everyone has their key and dissection has completed, you can leave the glass wall back here. You can leave. Now you can leave. What's required is that all the shapes need to be removed from every person's room. Each person needs to have their key, which can't contain their original shape, and it must match the outside dissection statues that dissection has done. And then the walls should be able to fizzle, and then you can leave. And that concludes what you need to do for the inside. Now, during your time inside swapping shapes around, after about 6 shape swaps or so, what will happen is the witness will notice you. You'll see that message in the bottom left corner of your screen, and moments later, you will, quote-unquote, die. This is actually a fake death, and your ghost will actually respawn in the outside, where your teammates will need to pick up your ghost and place it on the correct statue holder at the front of the room. Here is the front of the room, and from left to right here, I usually number them 1 through 6. If your team has different callouts for them, you can use different callouts if you like. Whatever works best for your team. I'm just going to refer to them as 1 to 6 most of the time because that's just what I'm comfortable with. The 3 statues there will be missing guardians, and they're going to be glowing. The trick here is the spectators, the people who are on the inside who are dead. They need to spectate the people who are placing the ghosts down, and they and no one else will be able to see guardian statues that are on those pedestals. So they'll be able to communicate who goes where. This is why fashion and aligning with your ghost shell is very important, because it allows you to see who goes into which correct statue. So you definitely want to make sure that everyone has unique ones, as to not accidentally confuse 2 people as the same person. In addition, you can't see your own statue. If you're dead or fake dead, you can only see your teammates. So just make sure that you get the message across and you can communicate effectively so you can get all the right ghosts on the right pedestals. Once all 3 have been saved successfully, this ghosts mechanic will happen once every phase, and then at the ending of each phase as well, a second time it'll happen, where instead of 3 people, it's going to be 5 people getting affected, and then 1 person is going to have to start putting the ghosts away. Once the person is revived, though, they can help out others and put everyone's ghost back into position. And after this is done, a phase of the encounter will be completed. And you have to do it 2 more times. Alright, so for this part of the video, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live commentating through the first phase of one of my team's successful runs of Verity. And this first phase is from the perspective of inside, so I'm going to go over what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, just to explain like what this is going to be like for you guys, and hopefully you guys can benefit from it through a live example. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it now. So we immediately get teleported inside. I'm immediately putting in the game chat, circle, square, triangle in the bottom right, as you can see there, because I saw my left to rights. I'm already killing a knight here, and this is to grab, not triangle, because I'm already triangle, and I'm going to go and dunk it on the matching statue, since I need to give circle over to circle. And I've recognized, again, that I am triangle on the right side, as you can see right there. That's me on the right side. So now that I'm doubled up and someone's giving me my other triangle, Now what we do is we get to step 2, which is distribution. I'm going to grab a triangle, and then I'm going to begin to dunk it on another statue. So I'm dunking it on the left statue here, and I'm killing an ogre to spawn in another knight, grabbing my second triangle, and doing my second splits to finish my distribution on the middle statue. Notice right here, I'm actually not dunking a statue because the witness notice mechanic is happening. It has been known to cause bugs whenever you're about to dunk a statue and the witness notices you. If you do dunk it, sometimes it will duplicate the shape and it will cause a soft lock. So it's advised not to do that. But at this point right now, I'm just communicating what I see. I see someone on 1. I think this is my teammate Trig that I called out to here, my teammates here in this example. So I did that. The outside team were able to bring us all back, and the first thing I did when I got back is I placed my remaining triangle on the middle statue. I now have a square on my back wall. I'm going to kill this knight to grab a square, and then I'm just missing my circle, which is the other shape that I still require. And you can see that there's a circle on the other statue. You don't see a square in the middle statue. Now the circle is gone. I've just received my circle. I now have my final shape. I just need to make my key now. I have my square, and I'm just killing this knight to grab the circle. I'm picking that up, and you can see I have cylindric on the left side. The wall is now shattering, and I'm able to escape. So that is a entire successful first phase of the inside on the encounter. If that was a little bit fast-paced for you guys, sorry. Just trying to go along with it as fast as I could think. But yeah, basically, it's going to be like that all the time. You want to, again, make sure that you double up on your shape. If you are already doubled up, then you wait for your teammates. And then as soon as everyone's doubled up, you distribute, grab your key, which is your 3D shape, and then escape. Alright, so in this part of the video, guys, I'm going to explain dissection. This is just normally how you would do it without challenge and the differences of what you do for challenge. This is just how you do dissection normally. I'm going to run through some examples with you guys, and then after this, we'll probably go into some actual gameplay footage, real time. In this situation that we have right here, our inside callouts are circle, square, triangle from left to right. So CST. And we see our statues contain non-perfect 3D shapes. We have cone, cylinder, and trilateral, or prism. And we need to make sure that each of these 3Ds don't contain the shape for the callout in that spot, but also contain the other two. That's basically what our goal is. So what I like to do is I like to start working from left to right, especially in this case when we don't have a perfect shape or an ideal shape. So on the left side here, we have a cone, circle, triangle, and we know that it needs to remove the circle, and we know that it needs to get a square because it already has a triangle. So we're going to prime it for subtracting by subtracting a circle from it. So killing the left knight, we'll drop a circle. We're going to pick that up and dissect the left statue. Should glow. And then we're going to grab a square, which is the right knight. We're going to kill the right knight, pick up the square. And we're going to dissect it on a statue that has a square. So you can do it on either of these two. However, I'm going to do it on the middle statue because middle is square and we don't want a square in it. So I'm going to dissect from it to swap the shape out. Alright, so now the left shape is correct. It's a prism or a circle. But we have a problem here. But this is just a very simple fix because we just have to swap a circle here and we have to swap a triangle out of here. So we kill the middle knight to grab a triangle, pick that up, dissect the right statue, kill our unstops to respawn the knights in, and then we just need to dissect a circle on the middle statue to complete dissection. And again, that's the left knight, so we pick that up, we dissect the middle statue. It's going to swap out the circle and the triangle here, and it's going to give us a cone and a cylinder here, and this will complete our dissection. Here's another example where we have circle, triangle, square, where we have a sphere, a perfect shape here, and then two of the same shape. Anytime that you see a perfect shape for dissection, even if it's just one or if it's all three, because it's either one or all three, you know that wherever that shape is located, that dictates what the shape is. So if you get all three of them, you actually know what the callout is. In this case, we have a sphere on left, so we know it's circle. But we don't know if it's triangle, square, or square, triangle, because these are both the same shape. So it's a 50-50, or you wait to listen to what your inside teammates call out. In this case, it's circle, triangle, square. So we need to get rid of both circles from this. And then we need to get rid of triangle from here and a square from here. Pretty simple. Okay. So to start off, I'm going to kill the left knight and pick up the circle and dissect a circle into this shape first. I like to start handling the perfect shapes first. Then I'm going to kill the middle knight. I'm going to pick up the triangle that it's going to drop, and I'm going to dissect it on the middle statue because middle is triangle. We don't want triangle, so it's going to swap that out, and it's going to give us our cylinder, which is correct for middle. Middle is done. Middle is dissected. Now we need to dissect a circle out of left still, and a square out of right to swap those shapes, and then dissection will be complete. So kill the right knight. It's going to drop a square. We're going to pick that up, dissect it on the right statue as well, because we want to get rid of that square. Killer unstops to respawn the knights. And then we're going to just need to dissect the circle on left. So that's the left knight, picking up the circle, and then dissecting the left statue. And that will give us our correct dissection. And so, yeah, guys, just a quick reminder. The left knight will always drop a circle. The middle knight will always drop a triangle. And the right knight will always drop a square. And the unstoppable ogres that spawn in afterwards will only spawn in once you've killed all 3 of the knights and all 3 of the shapes that have been dropped, either despawn or are picked up. And then after you kill the 2 unstops, the knights will respawn again. That's basically how you can reset your shape pool so you can continue to get more shapes. Alright, for this live commentary on dissection here, I happen to get a very, very lucky pattern to explain to you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. But yeah, so at the very beginning of this, I look from left to right and I hear my teammates call out the exact same shapes that I'm seeing. I actually have triples. So basically I have perfect circle, perfect triangle, and perfect square as visible 3D shapes. So I actually already know what the left to right is. In this case, it's circle, triangle, square. Now in this situation, not only do the shapes align to where the knights are, to like what they spawn, but also, again, like I mentioned, all of them are perfects. So it's a simple case of just dunking one of their shape on every single statue twice. So I have to dunk 2 circles on left, 2 triangles middle, and 2 squares on the right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kill the left knight here after I put the call out in chat. I did it for my teammates. I'm going to kill this left side knight, which is going to drop a circle. And I'm going to dissect that on the left statue. Kill the middle knight. Grab that triangle. Dissect it on the middle statue. That's going to swap the shapes between left and middle, making them the same. And I'm going to kill the right knight. And I'm going to dissect the square on the right statue. Unstoppable ogres are going to spawn in. Quickly clear them out so we can spawn in new knights. As you can see, left here and middle are also cone at this time, which is what right side needs to be. I'm going to kill the middle knight to grab triangle, dissect it on the middle statue. Kill the knight here on the right side. Middle is done. Dissect it on the right statue to prime it. And then I'm going to kill the left knight, which it's already dead. I grab the circle, dissect it on the left statue, and call out dissection is done. And we now have prism, cylinder, and cone, which is the correct 3D shapes from left to right for dissection. That's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and if this helped you guys beat Verity for yourself, please be sure to give this video a like rating, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, wait. You're still here. Did I forget to explain something? Oh, yes, of course. The challenge. Yeah, we got to explain that. So challenge, for the most part, drastically changes for the inside players on just the second phase of the encounter, as the challenge is that the inside players have to escape using all 6 different 3D shapes before you can repeat any. Dissection does change a little bit as well, because now you're dissecting shapes on the statues to be perfect shapes instead of the irregulars. So I'll do 2 separate explanations. One of them is going to be for the inside, and one of them is going to be for the outside. Alright, so in this part of the video, guys, I'm going to go over how to do the inside for Verity challenge. I'm going to go through some examples so that you guys understand. So the first thing, before we even get into an example, the basic concept that you guys need to understand, you can't escape your room until all of the different shadows have been cleansed from every room. Now, so that I elaborate on this, your shape statue, so let's say that you're circle, you're the left statue, you will still see your shadow. The other two rooms will not see your shadow. So this is what your room will look like if you're circle by the end, meaning that the other two statues, their shadows are removed. This is what it will look like if you are triangle. The other two shadows are removed and your shape is still visible. And this is what your room will look like if you are square and the other two are of course not square and the shadows will be removed. The shapes don't necessarily appear in this order every time. I'm just choosing this order for the sake of explaining through the simulation. But this is generally something that you should be aware of, especially while doing the challenge. Because while this is something that happens when you do the encounter normally, not a lot of players pay attention to this because people are so focused on getting the two shapes that aren't theirs to make their key. Which, to be fair, that is correct. You do that. But part of the reason it works is because you're removing all 6 shapes from everyone's room. Everyone has 2 shapes to remove for their room. Not including their own, there's the 2 shapes for square, the 2 shapes for triangle, and then the 2 shapes for circle. So there's 6 total shapes that should disappear whilst you're doing the inside. So how do you remove a shape from someone's perspective? Let's say that you are square, that you're on the right side. The requirement before you can even worry about what 2 shapes are on your back wall to make a key to get out, you need triangle and circle to be removed from your room. How that happens is someone will give you a circle, and that will remove the circle from the circle statue if you're not circle. So in this case, again, we're square. If you receive a circle, you will lose a circle on your on the statue that's circle. Like the shadow will disappear, and you want that. And then for square, you're also gonna need a triangle so that this happens. You need to receive a circle and a triangle at some point if you're square to remove these shadows. At this point, you can change your back wall to create any shape that you want as long as it doesn't contain your shape, which in this example is square, to make a 3D shape and then escape your wall. So basically what this means is that if you are up to this point and you have removed the other 2 shadows on your back wall, or I'm sorry, you've removed the 2 shadows from the other 2 statues, then you need to change your back wall so you have 2 of the same shape, but it can't be your shape. So for square, for instance, your back wall needs to be either circle, circle to create a sphere, or triangle, triangle to create a pyramid. Either of these options work, you just can't have your own original shape by the end of things. Dissection will have to adapt to this. So let's say that you do end up going along with triangle, triangle as square. That means the right statue on the outside needs to be a pyramid. It needs to contain 2 triangles. And then whatever the other 2s are, it's going to be the other 2. Since square is going to have 2 triangles, triangle is probably going to have 2 circles, and then circle is probably going to have 2 squares. But the shift is however you guys want to make it work. Your shape shifts either have to be right or to the left. You just have to rotate the 2 shapes on your back wall over to the left or to the right. Since you can't have your own shape, but you do need 2 of the same shape. Let's see an example. Let's assume in this case that you are square, and you have reached the point where you would have your key in the encounter because you have removed the shadows for the left and middle statue, and you have your 2 shapes on your back wall. So this would normally mean that you can grab your key and you can get out by killing the 2 knights, picking up both the circle and triangle, and then getting out. However, in this case, because you're doing the challenge, things change. Your team is either going to call out through game chat as the dissector will dictate, or everyone will just need to either shift left or shift right. Depending on what that means, you'll either keep a circle or keep a triangle. In this situation, let's say that we want to shift left, and we want to give our triangle over to the rightmost statue, which is circle. So circle will double up on triangle, and then triangle will double up on square, and then us, square, will double up on circle. So this means that as square, you'll need to dunk a triangle on the circle statue, which will remove your triangle, obviously, and you'll receive a circle momentarily. With 2 circles on your back wall, as long as the other 2 statues have also received their doubles that aren't their own shape, you can grab both of these and you can escape your room with holding a spherical buff as the square person. The alternative is that you do a different shift and you double up on triangle as square. Both of these are valid options. You just need to escape your room with a 3D perfect shape that is not your own shape. This is also only applicable during phase 2. You should only do this during phase 2. Phase 1 and phase 3, you should do normal Verity. The only thing that changes about challenge is just the second phase of the encounter. An alternate strategy, instead of getting to the point where you would have your key and then you send one of your shapes away to another person so you can double up on a new shape, there is a slightly different way that you can approach this. If you're at the point where everyone is doubled up with their own shape, in this case, we are square and we have 2 squares on our back wall, what you can actually do is you can send both your shapes to the next statue, but then your next set of 2 shapes, you also dunk on the next statue. So, for example, let's say that your team wants to do a left shift. What we would do is we would dunk both of our squares on the opposite direction statue. Since the left shift would be to the left statue, left of square would be triangle, we're going to actually dunk both of our squares on the left statue, which is the rightmost from the right, if we're going in a circle. So you would dunk both squares one at a time on the left statue. If everyone follows suit, your 2 shapes will be removed, but then you'll gain 2 triangles from the middle statue, as you can see here. Now, when you receive triangles at this point, the triangle shadow will be removed for you. This is why we have to do a second double shape swap, which is actually going to be a left shift. We're just doing a double right shift to give us a left shift. And if we dunk both of our triangles on the left statue this time, we'll receive a double circle, because triangle received a double circle from circle, and triangle for the second time sent their doubles to us. And then we sent over our doubles, which are triangles, over to circle. So we basically did a double swap in one direction to do a swap in the other direction. And what this will also do, which is the important part, is it will now remove the other shadow. Since we received circles, it will now remove the circle shape, or the circle shadow above that statue. The reason why this sounds a little bit overcomplicated is because we're basically just doing an alternate way to get a double shape on our back wall that isn't ours, while still following through with the mechanic requirements to receive one of the other 2 shapes, so we can remove the shapes, shadows. As square, sending our squares one direction and then grabbing a new set of 2 shapes and sending it in the same direction twice will ensure that we receive at least one of the other shapes. So as square, we'll receive triangle, and then we'll receive circle. Or if you're doing the other way, you'll receive circle first, then triangle, and you'll end up with double triangle on your back wall, and you'll still have both your shadows removed. There's 2 different ways to do this. However way that your team likes to do it best, feel free to do so. Just know that in order for either of these strategies to work, you first must double up on your own shape. Alright, so guys, in this part of the video, I'm going to go over the encounter challenge dissection role, or the second phase in the Verity fight. This is going to go over a left shift. It's up to you which way you want to go as a team, either left or right. You have to choose one direction. You could just let the dissector delegate this and put the call in chat. So like in this case, left to right would be triangle, circle, square. Then you shift everything to the left, so it'll be circle, square, triangle, or circle, circle, square, square, triangle, triangle, if you want to double up and put it in chat like that. I've seen people do that. I've done that. It does kind of help out the dissector with what you're supposed to have, and it also helps out the inside people with what double shape that they should have. In this situation, basically, we need to have double circle, double square, double triangle, like so. So I'm going to start from left to right in this case. Left side currently contains a circle, which is lucky for us. This left shift is going to assist us. So because we want double circle on this left statue, looking at this, and it is cone right now, we want to remove a triangle from it. So we're going to kill the middle knight. We're going to dissect a triangle on the left statue. And because we need a circle from the middle statue, we're going to kill the left knight, pick it up, and dissect it from the middle statue. That gives us a sphere now on the left statue, which is what we want, because a sphere is two circles that lines up with the circle on, which is the left shift over. Middle is supposed to be square, which is obviously our cube. So it needs two squares here. So literally, we just have to get rid of a triangle, and then this side also needs to get a triangle. So we need to remove a triangle from here and remove a square from here. All we have left is the right knight, which is a square. So we're going to kill the right knight. We're going to pick up the shape, and we're not going to dissect it on the middle, because in the middle, that's getting rid of the square. We want the square. We don't want the square on the right side, so we're going to dissect it on the right side to make it glow. Kill our unstops to respawn knights. And then we obviously want to get rid of our triangle on the middle statue. So we're going to kill our middle knight to get a triangle, and we're going to dissect it on the middle statue. And that's going to solve the dissection for this situation, where we shift all of our letters to the left, and we have a double circle on the left statue, a double square on the middle statue, and a double triangle on the right statue. This is basically the left shift dissection for the second phase of the encounter challenge on Verity. But you could also do this the other way. I'm going to show you guys another example here. So right here, our call is SCT, and our shapes are, we have a cube, and then we have two cones. Because of the way that you shift the shapes around, you could still do a left shape here. Or, I'm sorry, a left shift. We can still do a left shift. So we'll do that. So the new callout would be circle, circle, triangle, triangle, square, square. Now, I do typically like to start working with the shape that has the perfect. However, in this case, because it doesn't contain any shape that we already need for this statue, I'm actually not going to look at this one. I'm going to look at the next one, which in this case will be the middle one. The middle needs to be doubled up on triangle due to our left shift, and it currently contains a circle. So I'm going to get rid of that circle, and then I'm going to get rid of the triangle on the right side. So we're going to kill the left knight, pick up a circle, dissect it on the middle statue, and then we're going to grab the triangle and dissect it on the right side. We kill the middle knight, grab the triangle from it, dissect it on the right side. Alright. So now, the middle is correct. We have a pyramid from double triangle. However, the left statue and the right statue are just flopped, right? Left needs to be circle, circle, or sphere, and right needs to be square, square, or cube. So, literally all we can do left, kill the right knight, pick up the square, dissect it on the left statue, kill our unstops. Then we're going to kill our left knight, pick up a circle, dissect it on the right to swap. And then we're going to, in this case, kill the right knight. We're going to pick up the square, and then we're going to dissect it on the left statue, because again, it needs to be doubled up on circle. We want to get rid of the square from this. And we would need another circle again to dunk on the right statue to finish this dissection. However, we're not going to get one of those. So kill the middle knight. It's going to drop a triangle. We don't want this, so we're gonna pass it on. Hopefully you can get a teammate to grab this, or you could grab this and then you could kill the next waves of knights again, and then just kill the middle knight again to double up on triangle to get pure middle, the 3D shape buff, and then just dissect that into any of the statues. Then you can work on the knights. But we're going to kill our ogres to respawn, and then all we literally need left is just the circle. So we're going to kill left knight, pick up the shape, and dissect on the right side to finish the swap. So now our sphere is on the left and our cube is on the right. We've swapped the left and right sides. And that would be correct for the second phase on challenge dissection. To end this video off, I'll speak very briefly about the Encounter Triumph. For those of you who are still watching that are indeed after the title Iconoclast, the Encounter Triumph for Verity is called Equal Distribution, and it states that you must not dunk on the same statue twice in a row. The game checks for your dunks on statues that are on the back of the room, so the 3 statues that you use for dissection, as well as the 3 statues that you use for the inside shape swaps. To prevent this, I usually like to let the inside players do their shape swaps first, then let the dissectors go afterwards. And if you're running low on time while you're trying to do this, because maybe the inside team is taking a little bit longer than normal, especially if you're using the LFG strategy mentioned in this guide, then I recommend giving the dubby or double strategy a go as well. If you want more information on how that strategy works, here is a guide that goes over it in depth. Thanks for watching, and good luck, Guardians.